Well, I'm out in the back here because I want to show you something that we just purchased that I am extremely happy with. We got some steel targets. Now, shooting paper targets, of course, is definitely worthwhile and provides you with a permanent record of your progress and those really good days you have when you shoot the heck out of a bullseye. It's nice to keep those, but it can be kind of unsatisfying in other ways. For instance, these targets have been shot with 9mm full metal jacket ammo, and you can hardly see the holes from far away. So you don't really get a lot of feedback until you get close enough to actually see what you've shot, and that's not very helpful sometimes. Whereas with a steel target, you get instant feedback, because when you hit one of these puppies, it goes ding loudly. So I did a lot of research, looked at everything basically available online, and found one company in particular that I was just totally impressed with. They're called Challenge Targets, and these are some of their stake targets. We bought two. As you can see, it's called a stake target because down here they have a little stake system that you pound into the ground that holds a standard 2x4. You take a look around the back. There's a little plate for kicking, stomping, or pounding it in with a hammer or a mallet. And that stake's about 1 foot long, so it goes into the ground pretty far. And it's got some reinforcement so you don't bend the stake. It's really well engineered. And then up here at the top, you see this is 1/4 inch steel AR500 steel plate, mounted with 2 carriage bolts on springs to this bracket here that just basically rests on top of the 2x4. So what you do is you take one of these targets and you lean it forward slightly so the target is kind of pointing down towards the ground, and when you shoot it with a pistol, a 9mm for instance, from 10 yards away, the bullet totally disintegrates into the ground into pieces that are so small I've yet to be able to find one. And you get that instant feedback when it goes ding ding every time you hit the target. Now they have different targets, different sizes, shapes, weights. They have a thicker stuff that is rated for rifles that you shoot from 100 yards away. These are pistol targets. You can't shoot these with a rifle because you'll bend them, break them, and dent them, and then they're not safe. But as you can see, this one I've been shooting at for about a week, and when you hit it with the bullet disintegrates and it leaves like a little chalk mark, almost crater like, without a hole. It doesn't dent it or bend it or anything at all. And so I've repainted the surface of this because I basically shot the paint off of it the first week. And what the other nice thing about this is that I like the engineering behind it is they've got this on a spring, so this actually wiggles a little when the bullet hits. That dissipates some of the force. The fact that it actually wiggles on the 2x4 a little bit actually absorbs some of the impact also. So the whole thing sort of deadens the energy when it disintegrates the bullet, and these things are great. So anyway, I put a fresh coat of black paint on this one and the other one because I'm anxious to get out here and practice again. Like I said, shooting at paper targets, or like on these little rails here, I sometimes set up cans or bottles or something full of water that'll explode when you hit it. And then this is the other target we got, this profile target. Call him Charlie the Terrorist. And I've had to respray paint him too, because this target obviously you can practice shooting headshots and shooting body shots. And a lot of people will say, well, yeah, what about these bolts here? You know, it shouldn't, well, yes, the surface of the target, it's best if it's flat. But the problem I found with the other targets, or that I suspect with the other targets, I haven't scientifically checked it out, but this is why I went with these targets instead, is if you weld this target to something, basically when you heat it up, you create soft spots in the target, where if it gets hit, you can actually dent or chip or break, where these are hardened bolts, so they're basically as hard as the steel. I haven't had anything fire back at me or ricochet in any odd direction. I try not to hit the bolts, but I'm sure I have. But I still think this is a better system than welding. I think welding is probably not a good idea on the back of these targets. I think that's probably the weak spot of many of these other target designs. So anyway, I don't work for Challenge or anything like that. And I'm not really trying to do a commercial, but I have to tell you, these things are great. And I love the simplicity. They have other models that are on big stands and all that, and they have the kind that, I guess they're called poppers, that flip over when you hit them. They knock down and spring back up. But if you want to carry a bunch of this stuff out to the yard, I mean, these things are kind of heavy. So just having a 2x4 of the target and that stake thing makes them actually quite manageable. I can set these up in a matter of 2 minutes and take them down and put them back in the garage or wherever with a minimum of hassle. It's actually less hassle than moving this thing that I constructed to hang paper targets. And this, if I don't put blocks on it or something, it blows down whenever there's a windstorm, and I have to come pull it and pick it back up off the ground. These things have been through 2 thunderstorms just in the last 24 hours, and they're still standing, where this I had to pick up twice. So anyway, that's my commercial, my non-commercial commercial. Challenge targets, thank you very much. Great product. I'm going to go get my pistol and shoot the heck out of these things. Talk to you later.